What's happening, guys? On to part 2 of Queen's Gambit episode 4, going through the second game that she plays. This one was also a real game by Gary Kasparov, playing, is what Beth Harmon played against Anand. And she plays black in this episode, and plays it very well, as she normally does. Second game in her tournament that we see, and this is an important, I don't want to say important, this is a common move, opening to d4. A lot of people, myself included for a while, did not know how to respond to d4, besides the original d5. And a lot of times you can get into trouble with that with the Queen's Gambit, the Black Redeemer Gambit, the London comes out, so there's a lot of different ways. A lot of people like to go ahead and try knight to f6, and this blocks the. It doesn't really block this, but it doesn't help white if he goes forward. It's a good way to start. You can go with the Benoni. You can keep going like this, doesn't matter, but bringing your knight out in the first place is often a good idea. So white goes ahead and plays Queen's Gambit anyway, and she could go into a Queen's Gambit declined. She instead starts to fianchetto, playing a King's Indian, and now she comes up in here to a Queen's Gambit declined. Whites just go ahead and developing. We're going to do that in a castle. The queen comes out a little early, looks like, so this is putting more pressure on this pawn here, and we can't move this bishop because we don't come in here and take. So didn't mean to do that. Alright, so she goes in and takes, and goes ahead and castles. Now the king is safe. This king is not safe yet, and the white bishop can't even get him out yet. Need to pull that pawn out, which he does. Looks like black has just to keep developing. Now this seems like an odd move, bringing the knight here. I think that's because, knight to c6 can run into this pretty easily. And then you got to move it out anyway. You can, try to attack or whatever, but then, after something like this, your knight's in a weird position. And it might even be better in here because you've got these squares you can come to. So that's why it seems like Beth did that. Instead, looking forward, to play a6 instead. Now, the bishop comes out, allowing for a castle. Bishop and the queen are in the same diagonal, which is pretty powerful. If this was flip-flopped, then it'd be easier to do the exchange with the knight. Well, not exactly, because this bishop's still here. So we go ahead and push this up, and we're allowing a capture here in order to free up our queen, in order to get development, in order to just get a lot of space. Now you could come back down here, and that would just be, which it is. It's really annoying. We've got 4 pieces in the center. 2 are blacks and 2 are whites. Now whites are more centralized than blacks are, so white has a little bit of an extra development in the center. Black is fighting for it, but it looks like she's got more on the outskirts, and white's more in the center, has more space. Now we can see where black is kind of just like this, and so this is a benefit for white. If I were playing right now, I'd probably prefer to do white. Comes up, challenging the center, trying to get an exchange to where black will have a better center. White does not take it, so she goes ahead and does the exchange herself. Now, there's only 1 white piece in the center and 1 black piece right on the outskirts of the center. Not too bad, especially if rook comes in, takes over this file, and the knight moves. We got the diagonal. There's a lot that can be done here at this point. So white comes up, bishop, using this to protect the bishop and taking this file. And developing as well, allowing the rook to come out. The rook comes over, wants to take over this file, wants to push this pawn, and protect this pawn, because we have 2 things attacking it versus 2 things defended. Now it's 3. So queen comes up, it's still blocking this move, but getting out of the way of the rook. Um, so if something were to happen that this would take, it'd be a discovery attack, and Beth wanted to not allow that later on. So he goes moon down, and the rook comes in instead of the queen. So now if something happens and the rooks exchange, no big deal because it's not our queen. So right now we have two things attacking, and there is one thing defending. So technically at this point, black can go ahead and take. But doesn't work that way because white comes in, attacks our queen. We have to move the queen because we don't want to allow that exchange. So coming here, still attacking this, and still defending this. Alright, so white comes in with his own attack, attacking this, and then going to be defending this as well. Black comes up, defending this again. So now these two are under attack by both sides right now. If we look at it, this is where the main battle is happening. We can see all the pieces, but we can see that this is where the battle's happening. This is the action. So look at the black pawn. We've got 1, 2, 3 things attacking, and 1, 2, 3 defending. So these are the main pieces attacking and defending this pawn, and white and black have to make sure they keep up the pressure and keep up the defense. Now, there's also this pawn that's threatening to get past. Both of these are pass pawns. Well, no, this isn't a pass pawn because of that. This is a pass pawn, and black has 1, 2, 3 attackers, and white only has 1 defender. And the reason this is so key right now is because black could immediately just take this and win the pawn, except that this pawn will be lost now. And that's why white is attacking this pawn, to try to make up for the fact that this pawn is already lost. So queen comes over, wanting to do the exchange. And this is interesting because if black were to do the exchange here, bishop takes back, bishop owns this file. Bishop really does own this file, and we can go ahead and take, but then, the bishop being over here is kind of detrimental to us. It's really up in our business. Now, if we wait and do something wild and white exchanges, then we don't allow this move here from the bishop, and we've got everything in order here in our house, and we've got a good diagonal for both our bishops, and the main point is we're not letting this bishop in. So from here, Beth played bishop here, which is even better move than the dumb stuff we were doing, because now if queen takes, which they did, we own this diagonal here instead of having white up in our business. So she saw that, she decided to bring her bishop in, and if she wants to exchange, fine, but I'm going to own this diagonal, not you. So it goes ahead and exchanges. This would just double our pawns if we took back, but she goes ahead and takes that with her own threats to the rook, and then takes the pawn, trades the rook, takes the knight, there's a lot going on here, takes the knight, and then takes, and there was a lot of bloodshed there. And out of it came because of this right here attacking this rook, white decided to go ahead and take a pawn and attack this piece, but it didn't work out in his favor because we just won the exchange. Yeah, and took a pawn. So the exchange is one for black. We've got 2 rooks and a bishop versus 2 bishops and a rook. And the pawns are the same. We've got a pass pawn on either side and a pawn just staring at each other from the starting position. So already black looks phenomenal here. We're going to end up winning this pawn. We're going to move our rooks out and try to take over on the back rank. And we've got our dark square bishop, which is our strongest bishop that we had started off with. So black comes in, wanting to go ahead and exchange material. When you're up in material, it always makes sense to exchange down, because it just simplifies your position, gives your opponent less attacking methods. So if this was going to be a problem for us, we exchange, and now it won't be. Now it's 2 rooks versus a rook and a bishop, and we're just simplifying until it's a 1 position for us. So it goes ahead and exchanges, takes the pawn, which is fine. And then we move here, we're blocking this pawn advancement. We are ready to double up and take, and we're ready to push out and throw in checkmate too. Trying to push a little too late to try to get an attack on the king side. There we go. There's the double up, and this is unavoidable at this time. So attacking our pawn, thinking that might do something for us, but then here, we're threatening check. We're going to be taking this pawn, and we're protecting this pawn after that. Not necessarily that because the bishop, but we'll figure that out. And her opponent knew that. She saw this. White has no counterplay here. Black is just controlling holding all the cards, and her opponent actually resigned here. Because I mean, there's what could he do, right? What could he do? So what could have happened is h5 coming in for the attack, and we come up double attacking this, and you can't hold on to that. So just destroying, and white has no options here. So that is the second game in this tournament she plays. We'll go over the third. She plays a game played by Capablanca back a while ago in real life against Asif Bernstein. Don't know him. But she's playing against somebody called Deirdre in the show. And she gets the black pieces again. And they start with d4 again. She plays differently this time. She goes d5. Then the knight move, it goes Queen's Gambit. Fitting. And then she plays declined. I believe this is the Slav position. And then the knight comes out. This is all theory. Castles, and this is an interesting move, bringing the knight in. It's protecting her knight, but it's also blocking her bishop. So she's probably going to want to fianchetto so she can bring this bishop out. If you're going to block your own bishop, make sure you leave him some form of escape. You don't want just an entombed bishop back here doing nothing for you. So the rook comes out, and now we do exactly that. We fianchetto the bishop. Takes, and this is a good move for white decently, because now he's got 2 pieces in the center versus Beth's 1. She's gonna make up for it. She's got a strong development here, 4 pieces versus 1 after she moves the bishop out. Okay, so the queen comes down and is attacking the knight. Bishop comes up and attacking the bishop like we've seen before, with the queen quick to attack and trade, which ends up being fine. And then the pawn comes up, challenging the center, which is 2 versus 1. Now hopefully takes, and it'll be 1 versus 1 with a strong outside help. So he goes in and exchanges the knight, because that's why we put the knight here, was so that we could exchange here and leave our bishop protecting this, or here for whatever reason we want. Goes ahead and changes the pawn, and now we're looking pretty good in the center here. We've got more space. We've got a bishop still versus 2 knights, a bishop and a knight versus 2 knights, which, who knows what's better. It depends on your position, but in this position, it's open, so I would say the bishop is better than a knight. And we're going to be able to bring stuff out and take over these open files. Queen's a little overextended, it looks like. Not really dangerous because she can retreat pretty easily, but it's she's not doing a whole lot. Castles, and now the queen coming up to exchange. So with this open place, we've got a bishop over a knight. Exchanging queens here just makes sense. So here, if the queen exchanges, then we've got an open rook file. We've got a nice little pawn chain here. and it just looks great. So the white queen doesn't want to do that. She goes back, and then we go here, and we're stopping. We're entombing everything here. The queen can't come out anymore to play. The queen is kind of trapped back here. We're stopping both these places. The knight can't come here. We've got a nice little pawn system going on here. In order to take this, he's going to have to throw other attackers on it because we've got a knight defending it. But then we can bring here. We can double up, and we can hold on to this pawn pretty easily. Rook comes over to attack, like we had talked about, so rook defends. And this is an interesting move. It's stopping the pawn advance. Pawn advance could have been really annoying for white, but it doesn't. I don't think it's doing a whole lot because the white knight can't really go anywhere from here. So what's the point of that move? Bishop comes up, attacking the knight. A trade, could be good, I guess. I don't see any really much benefit to it. Now we'll go here, defending this, and trades. We've got an open file. Both of us are fighting for with a knight in the middle. But the knight is in an outpost protected by his pawn. And so here in the show, he says, Beth crushed his position, has won by crushing egg. And this is where it starts to get interesting. She starts just destroying. So he comes up, and she's going to go ahead and trade for the knight. And this is attacking this rook. The rook has to move, and we're going to be able to push. And then we can attack, and we're going to be able to push. And we're going to push this pawn on to victory, or at least we're going to get something in the middle of it and really annoy white. So he has to move the rook because you don't want to trade a knight for a rook. And so we push. And now we've got two defenders versus one attacker. So there's the two again. We're going to go ahead and double up. He's not making it easy on us. And then he takes and trades. And this is really dangerous right here. This queen move. So queen is allowing, obviously a loss of a queen for a checkmate. And if the queen decides to roll back or whatever, we're going to take this rook. Rook decides to come here. We're going to go ahead and check, and then mate in the next move. So there's really no way for white to handle this well. White has to pretty much protect your queen, because then here is check, and then you can defend here, and then we take. Or you can try to do something funky here, and it's just not going to work. So black had won in this position, and that's when her opponent resigned. So I hope you enjoyed those two positions. I hope you got anything out of it. I know I talk really fast. It's because there's a lot to go over, and I don't like to keep my videos way too long. I know that it can be hard to watch. So let me know what you think of these two games. Next episode, we will be hopefully finishing out the Queen's Gambit episode 4 and all the positions. Thanks for watching. Like it, subscribe it. Let me know what you think. Let me know any of your thoughts on it, on the show in general. Thanks, guys.